Speaker number one, Matt Dever, with his speech titled How to Light the World. How to Light the World, Matt Dever.
It's April 2020. My work friend James and I are on our weekly Zoom lunch. James says, "It's mostly just people with pre-existing conditions dying." I'm a type 1 diabetic. That's a pre-existing condition. Has anyone ever said something about you behind your back? To your face? James knew about my condition, but in that moment, he didn't see that part of me. I know because I was wearing a t-shirt. James literally didn't see the insulin pump and glucose sensor sticking out of my biceps. I didn't know how to react. My instincts took over. My good instincts come from my mom. My mom prepared me for every hard conversation in my life. She gave me 2 lessons I was about to need with James. First, when I was 10 years old, my mom took me to our office in Center City, Philadelphia. I saw homeless people on every other block. When they asked for change, everyone looked straight ahead to avoid eye contact with them. On the way home after work, my mom walked up to a homeless man and said, "Sir, would you like to get a sandwich with us?" At first, I wondered what my dad did. Why was she looking for a replacement? Later, I realized that was just my mom. She never seemed to judge anyone by their circumstances. She made it clear I shouldn't tune people out. She saw the whole person. I needed that with James. James didn't have a condition. Why should I expect him to see things like me? So I asked James, "How many people do you think have a pre-existing condition?" Do you ever ask people a question so you can tell them the answer? I launched into my opening statement. I was fiery. I was passionate. I was boring. I used statistics. I needed to dig deeper. Second lesson. One time my mom lit the kitchen on fire. That's not the whole lesson. I was sitting at home one night in our living room watching TV. My mom was in the kitchen on the phone. She was always on the phone. She was cooking dinner. My mom could not cook dinner. She could burn dinner, not cook dinner. "Hey Mom, what's that smell? Is that smoke?" I ran into the kitchen. A flame erupted. I fell to the ground. The fire department came and we were fine. I learned that in my mom's world, hearing you was more important than dinner. She heard the whole person, sometimes to our detriment, but her lesson was clear. Stop and listen, even if it kills you. I needed that with James. While I rattled off statistics, I wasn't hearing him. So I stopped talking and leaned in. James said, "But aren't most people with conditions just old or overweight?" Was James blaming people for their conditions or just overlooking them? Instead of arguing, I remembered a story. I told James about my friend Charles. Charles showed up one night at my gym. You can't miss Charles. He looks like a taller version of Shrek. The big green movie monster? Big hands, big face, big belly. Charles was also pre-diabetic. Now, I already knew Charles worked out hard all the time, so I asked him what else he was doing about pre-diabetes. "Well," this is how Charles talks, "I guess I'll stop drinking so many coffee cooladas." Ah, the coffee coolada. a Dunkin' Donuts drink with over 100 grams of sugar. I thought most type 2 diabetics could just eat better to reverse their diabetes. I thought it was that simple. That's easy for me to say. I wasn't living Charles's life. But then I met Charles's family. Come to the party with me where I met them. Imagine opening the door. We walk in and scan a room full of people. Everywhere we look, Shrek, Shrek, Shrek! Charles's family all look like Charles! Then it hit me. Charles will always have a risk of developing diabetes. Some people are born with more risk. Like James, I oversimplified a complex situation. Maybe my brain found that story because of my mom's lessons. She also taught me people don't like hearing about their own mistakes, but they love hearing about yours. Now, after I told James about Charles, I could not believe how James reacted. He listened. I could tell James heard me. And I think he finally saw the devices sticking out of my arms. When James opened his mind, it surprised me because it's rare. Overlooking people is a condition that affects us all. We oversimplify people and their communities. When challenged with new information, instead of digging in and learning, we look past each other. We talk past each other. But have you ever spoken to someone who made you feel like the only person in the world? Even when you might disagree. Be that person. Be the person who sees broad and deep. Be the person who hears tone and texture. Be the person who digs to discover the complexity of a human story. Be that, and go light your world on fire. Back to you.